Saturday, February 14. Visit Walgreens today to find a Hallmark card that shows just how much you care for them, because love lives here.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello. Well, you know, another day of what should I talk about? Because it's all crazy. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Driving It Home. Oh, you know what? I kind of named this again today. I feel like it's a day for... I feel like I've been trying to meditate. Everyone take a deep breath. Take a deep breath in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it for 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 7 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I don't. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if that helps, but I'll try. I was watching the testimony today in the hearings on Border Patrol, and there was a woman from, I don't know if I should, is it okay if I do accents of Republicans? And I was asking Andy if it sounded too condescending. There was a woman from South Carolina, and she was saying that, you know, these sanctuary cities, they're just letting children out into the streets. They're near all the children, putting them in danger. And then she couldn't say Minneapolis. She said Minneapolis. So Minneapolis is one of those places that's just disgusting. These Democrats, they're just letting crime all over the street near us. Well, if they're in Minneapolis, they're nowhere near you, lady. Okay, just hey, I mean, if you're from South Carolina, it should be all about states' rights, lady. Just saying, it's part of your legacy, your history of we want to own people. So we want to own people and we want to hurt people. Just okay. Anyway, at any rate, there were some fiery moments in the hearings today. There was one legislator. It got a little testy, as you can imagine. I thought that Congresswoman Delia Ramirez did a great job. Of course, our very own. At any rate, did you guys watch the hearings? We can open up the phone lines because we're going to have Soli Santos in studio with us. And she did a really sweet, funny video about how much she enjoyed the halftime performance. And she also gave us a little bit of history. So I encourage you to follow Soli Santos on Instagram and check out her Closet Confession, where she talks about why the halftime performance was important. And I appreciated her take on that. I was not familiar with the colors of the Puerto Rican flag, and she will tell us more about that when she gets here. What else? Oh, the Epstein files, you guys. There's a lot coming out about the Epstein files, and apparently now there are, congressional members who are speechless, as I am. One of the things that there's so many elements. There's reports now that there was a gynecologist that was basically on staff for Epstein, and you can imagine why he would need that service. It's disgusting. At any rate, you know what? Let's switch gears for just a moment and talk about what's coming up on the show today, because I am excited about the guests that we are going to introduce to you. I believe we have a couple of returning guests, in particular coming up at 6:00. We are going to talk to floor leader Erin Murphy of Minneapolis, of Minnesota in particular. We talked to her during the DNC, and it was really fantastic to learn from her how the DFL, the Democratic Farm and Labor Party of Minnesota, was able to be successful in a lot of their elections. So coming up at 6:00, we will talk to Minnesota State Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy, and she'll be joining us, as well as at 6:30, we're going to talk to Monica Byron, President of Education Minnesota, a labor union of over more than 84,000 educators in Minnesota. And coming up shortly, we are going to talk to Corbin Trent, who's the co-director at Justice Democrats, building people power in our country by electing a block of working class leaders in Congress. So we will talk to him coming up. We want to thank, first of all, all of our sponsors. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for those of you who join us every single day and join the conversation, are engaged. Even if you hate listen, just so you know, you still help. I don't think you realize that, but I want to thank you for in various ways. You don't need to know the specifics, but you do help, so continue. But we also want to thank folks who just are involved and want to know more. Our calls to to action, the informative conversations that we have. Sometimes we have fun. Sometimes we laugh a little bit. So I'm so grateful to have you here because I could not do any of this without you. Of course, I'm grateful to Lady B. I realized, Lady B, and I didn't mention this on Friday, we were in such a hurry to get to the finish line. Thank you for everything back here at WCPT and everybody here who runs things behind, and everybody behind the scenes on location here at the station. It's a lot of plates to spin, and I know a lot of listeners are grateful, but we need to be reminded that we can't do any of this without your incredible spirit, your hard work, and just seeing your smiling face makes me happy. Hi, Lady B. And so thank you. Thank you to our sponsors. We want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar and maybe make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. It might be time to get solar panels on your house or business. Spring is, you can tell now, right? Everyone believes me now when I say spring is right around the corner. It feels a little sunshine, a little bit of snow melting. We have a few days of slightly warmer than it's been. I'm not going to tell you how my husband might have jinxed everything. I'm not going to tell you that he said things about I've been accused when I've said, and I'm not saying it, I'm saying I have said in the past that I don't think it's going to snow anymore. It's not me saying it, that's saying that I have said it in the past. And then when we had a massive storm, a blizzard on a certain Super Bowl Sunday, which took me, I believe it took me 7 hours to get to the station I was working at that time. That was not my fault, but I have learned my lesson not to put away all of my snow boots or any of my heavy winter gear, my long johns. Yeah, I wear long johns. What are you going to say about that? I wear the silk ones. Make me happy. They're called Cuddle Duds. Mm-hmm. I should probably message them for a sponsorship. But at any rate, I'm not putting any of that away. But my husband feels like it's, I'm not going to tell you what he said because that might be jinxing it too. However, spring is around the corner and maybe you want to make an appointment with Source Solar and find out if solar panels are right for your house and for your budget. Just saying. Source.solar. We also want to thank our friends at Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.net right now and put in an order, maybe for a bean subscription. That way you have these incredible single origin beans that are roasted to order, delivered to your house every single month. And they also have pickup locations, by the way. Their subscription service is currently available, so you can go ahead and choose delivery or pickup if you're in the Chicagoland area for that. And every month you'll receive one of their signature single origin bags of coffee along with another bag of their fun featured blends. So you just click on the tabs and you'll be right there. And you can manage your subscription if you want to pause. Like sometimes people worry about getting a subscription and they think they'll just keep getting charged. They will pause your subscription if you want to skip a month, all that kind of stuff. You can work with them. And you can also order an extra bag if you are so inclined. Also want to tell you about the in-person markets they will be at soon. They're going to be on February 14th on Valentine's Day. They will be at the Edgewater Indoor Market at the Broadway Armory. So go to pridecoffeeroasters.com and put in an order for their incredible coffee beans. I also want to thank our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company, of course. That's MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. Please subscribe to the newsletter. Ben Cominos just wrote a great piece. He just got back from traveling. He was in Thailand for 2 weeks, and he had some exchanges with people around the world, and it did not, he was he's a little sad. So, perk up his spirits by subscribing to the Minocqua Brewing Substack, and remind him that there are people in this country that still like us. Yes, he said it did not go well. Like he was talking to these folks at a bar, and they basically did the X sign to him. Lady B, they did like the get away from us. Sorry it happened to Ben. Ben doesn't deserve that. He's very sweet. So go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. Maybe put it in an order for some progressive brew or some fun swag to show your resist spirit. Oh, we are putting together some Resist and Persist comedy show. That's Resist and Persist. I probably talked too fast because someone said resistant persist. It's not. It's Resist and Persist. I need to get some. I believe I need to get some T-shirts made up for that. But we will be bringing some laughs to some locations near you. I have at least one lined up and a request for another one. If you want to know more, you can email me P Vasquez at WCPT820.com. That's P as in Patty, Vasquez as in me. P Vasquez at WCPT820.com. And I do want to read a quick note from a listener who messaged me. He asked if I was as nice and understanding as I sound on the air. You'd have to ask my family and my friends. But I'm on the air for 2 hours a day. I'm not that good of a performer to be somebody else. So thank you very much for the kind words from Minnesota. That was very kind of you. That's always nice to wake up to a sweet message. Did I wake up to that one? I think I woke up to that sweet message. And it was very fun for me. So thank you so much to everybody. When you send me a message, I try to get back to everyone that emails me. Again, my email is pvasquez@WCPT820.com. And that's Scott. Thank you to Scott from Minneapolis who listens in the evenings. And he says, thanks and keep pushing back on them bastards. It's Chuck. Thank you very much. Let's take a phone call. It's the first call of the day. It's Jim in Chicago. I know everyone's surprised, but you win the first call of the day, Jim.
Oh, wow. Good. I could use some jam over here. I'm always loaded with coffee anyway, Patty. But I'm thinking about who's going to write this Epstein story. To my Victor Hugo comes to mind.
Oh, boy.
But and then a movie script. But consider this. Now, in 2007, Acosta gave him a sweetheart deal, and he got just a slap on the wrist. But yet he was a pedophile, an insane pedophile. But in the meantime, Maxwell House is running around the place, still free, and then she's finally caught up with, about a decade later, or when did Maxwell get pinched?
Yeah, that's a good question. Was it before he was pinched? Was it 19? He died, right?
Yeah, but he
and the first one was in 2000, right? 2007.
Right. He took a pinch there, but he got a sweetheart deal because I guess he had enough scratch to get out, to get released on house arrest or where the hell he was at. But then Maxwell, when does Maxwell get pinched?
Let's see. She was charged in July of 2020. It looks like.
So that is 13 years later, right?
Yeah, after he did, yes.
Yeah.
And then she.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, Katie, but obviously he didn't squeal on her. He didn't use her as a bargaining chip in that deal because she was free for 13 years. But now they've gone over these files, these unredacted files. In 2 hours, they found 6 psychos involved with this maniac, and who knows how many other people. But what kills me, just subjectively, on my point, I wouldn't be photographed. Well, first of all, I wouldn't be photographed with anybody, but photographed with this guy. I could be in Yankee Stadium if I was at the exit sign and he was in the top bleacher. I run out of the building. My point is, how can these idiots? I don't even understand. Are the libidos so bizarre? Their libidos are so out of whack.
I think when they're that wealthy, they're disassociated from reality. That I get to do this, and then it was that luring people, and I think that at that level, people believe they have to be, doing the same things. It's like this weird, Caligula peer pressure. Right.
Well, yeah, like I've heard you use that word before, but you're right on. You're getting warmer with that Caligula because that's what this whole operation looks like.
Yeah.
Now remember, Trump was caught jumping in the dressing room with Eugene Carroll, right? Now anybody else on earth would be doing 10 years for that or 20 years for that, but apparently he became president.
Yeah. And
then he sends. I mean, how about the birthday card he sent to? Now, First of all, his guy is my witness. His guy is my witness. I mean, I've never sent anybody a birthday. I mean, maybe my sweetheart from, I got back from the Foreign Legion. But this guy goes into description, a horrible description. Where are their, forget their morals because they don't have any. We know Trump has no morals. But does their conscience ever twing in their head? I just can't understand how they could go through this insanity. I have no idea why. Because think of this: prostitution's legal in Europe. I think Hamburg. There's so many cities that have legal prostitution. Nevada's got legal prostitution. Yeah. And if they can't get a paramour on their own, why would they go through this screwball? To me, I'll never understand that. Never. Especially they've got enough scratch to, I imagine, to pick somebody up in a bar or go to a house of prostitution or whatever the case may be. But to go through these maturations to go with this nut and Maxwell, I mean, what is her story? And they're going to actually give her some kind of oxygen to come up with some story.
I know. It's
when
awful.
when Trump's lawyer went down there and mitigated the whole story. You know, in other words, if you open your mouth, what are you going to say, Max? Well, what are you going to say? Well, she's told him. I'm not going to tell on Trump. See, that's her only ace in the hole.
Yeah.
Anyway, Patty,
Thanks, Jim. Talk to you later. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. We're so glad you're all here. More in a moment.
The family meeting.
We almost still have no choice but to vote because the other evil is really, really evil, right? Where some folks are just like, my life doesn't really change because, it's not going to really be that bad for me. No matter who wins, my life goes on. But if this other one wins and he's targeting certain groups, if I'm in that group, I'm screwed.
Yep. Sundays 4 to 6 p.m., The Family Meeting.
Interested in debt-free education? It's one benefit of apprenticeship with Plumbers Local 130 UA of the greater Chicagoland area. These days, high school seniors need to rethink going to a four-year college and creating debt with no plan in sight. Students and their parents need to think about learning a trade that pays you to learn and create a career. Being part of Plumbers Local Union 130 UA achieves those goals. As an apprentice, you receive great wages, great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription drug, vision, and hearing. No college debt, 2 pensions, and access to union wellness centers and eye care with 0 deductibles and 0 copays. Admission to the Plumbing Apprenticeship Program ends February 13th or with the first 2,000 submissions. Applicants have to be 18 years old and have a high school diploma or a GED certificate. See the full list of requirements and qualifications and apply for your future now at apply.jac130.org.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or
and Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue our drive home. Joining me in studio is guest co-host and fellow comedian who will be joining me for a comedy show coming up. We'll give you the details soon. As soon as we lock in all of that, we're going to do our Resist and Persist comedy tour. I named it Resist and Persist. What do you think? Hold on, let me get your microphone. There we go. That's me? Oh. It doesn't affect how much I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I'm wearing the wrong headset. That would be the.
What we got? Is there one over there?
Yes.
It's one of those days where we're just moving around.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Like,
what do you think? Resist and Persist comedy tour.
I think it sounds great. I love it.
And we're gonna go. I'm hoping we can get a gig in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then Seattle. Our sisters are where we broadcast.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Let's
get this going.
Let's do this. My bag is packed.
All right. Well, the first one's gonna be a coffee shop.
Okay.
It'll be small. It'll be
a small bag.
We're gonna build.
Packed.
We're gonna build, folks. If anybody has a venue that owns a venue and you want to do a comedy show, you want to hire us for the Resist and Persist comedy show, we would love to come, and we'll have it be me and Soli to start. I'm guessing. I think that I can convince Joe Kilgallen, Tim Walco, and Dwayne Kennedy.
That show was so much fun.
Oh my God!
People were much fun.
Did I tell you afterwards? My mom's like, "Who put that together? who booked those comedians?"
Gee, I wonder who.
I was like, "I do that. I did that." She's like, "You did a great job."
It was so much fun.
Do you know my mom turned 91 yesterday?
That She is an inspiration.
She is. You know who else is an inspiration? A young woman who made a video really breaking down. I did not realize the significance of the colors that Lady Gaga was wearing and the Puerto Rican flag. And you did a wonderful closet confession I was telling my audience.
Yeah.
So I've seen some videos about the different images that we saw, whether it was supporting small businesses, including in Puerto Rico and in New York.
And in Mexico.
Excuse
me,
LA?
not in LA. Excuse me.
Taco,
yes, in LA.
Taco company or taco, taco business.
Yes.
And so somebody called and was we don't have to talk about them. We'll talk about the positive things. Did you see how the bushes were people, like the sugar cane?
Hilarious.
I would not be able to stand still.
Well, there was one. Did you see a video where there was one that was dancing, that was moving around in the crowd of bushes? Hilarious.
I loved it. So for folks who don't know, I did not know that people died and were imprisoned for going against.
Yes, so it was called the gag law. And that was the law that made it illegal for Puerto Ricans to display the Puerto Rican flag, which was at the time with that powder blue, the baby blue, the color of
like Chicago.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The color of Lady Gaga's dress was what the blue on the triangle of the flag was, and so. It was used as at the time a pro-independence flag. It was a symbolism for separation from the U.S. And so the U.S. didn't like that. So they made it illegal for people to display that because the mindset is if you were displaying that flag, you were for pro-independence. And they were trying to quash that at the time. And so for about 9 years, I think that law was on the books. And people went to jail for that. Some people were arrested. And it was something as simple as it could have been your neighbor that could have reported you, that saw you had that flag, or a police officer saw it or, something like that, So,
jeez, I had no idea. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it too. I was telling folks, I went to a neighborhood bar. I actually went to an Irish pub here, and I was curious how my neighborhood would. They were great.
Oh,
I was so proud of my neighbors. They were fantastic.
Oh, that's great.
Everyone enjoyed it. There was a table of Latinas, and it was so funny because I don't know, I don't make assumptions. But when the Mexican flag came out, they all raised their hands. I was like, me too.
I've seen the montages on social media where of people from the different countries, like when he mentions their country and everybody starts cheering, and that's just so. It was just such an amazing. See, I went to the residency, his concert. I went to the residency in September, and it was just as detailed. It was just like he did the same type of such cultural significance throughout the entire 3-hour concert.
Wow.
Okay. With details like that was he had the casita, the house, a bigger representation of that. And each concert, my understanding was each concert, there was famous people, there were famous athletes that were always in the casita. So I wasn't surprised that there was Pedro Pascal, Cardi B there because...
Jessica Alba?
Yes, yes. Javier Bardem and
I didn't see him.
Penelope Cruz, I think.
All right.
So there were a bunch of famous people there. So I wasn't surprised that there was famous people in the casita. But everything was so symbolic. That house is literally how the houses look in Puerto Rico. And so just seeing that is anybody who's been to Puerto Rico, anybody who's familiar going to a non-touristy area, you're gonna recognize that. That was that was my grandmother's house. It was everything about that was down to the bananas to the coconuts that they had. I remember my family members chopping up coconuts and just drinking straight coconut milk out of the coconuts with.
My mom still does. She's got that knife that you sort of it's got. I don't know how. Anyways, yeah. My mom still has coconut milk.
My uncles used the machete. They were just chopping that thing. Yes, chopping that thing open and then just handing it over like it's a cup. It was like I'm being like a 10-year-old kid. I'm the coconut's is the size of my head, and I'm I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this. You know what I mean? I think this is a lot. This is a lot.
I would get mad if you didn't drink because my mom, when I was little, I remember not finishing everything and getting in trouble.
I don't remember. No, I don't think they.
No, okay,
I don't
good.
think I was. See, this is the thing is, since we lived here, we would get away with stuff that cousins that lived over there didn't get away with, right? So my grandmother was a little more, well, she didn't get to see us all the time, so she wouldn't. Right. You know, we got away with some stuff.
Well, grandmothers are good that way. Abuelas are good that way.
Exactly. So it was great.
Let me check in with our listeners real quick. According to the files, I'm guessing Maxwell got pinched several times a day. Jim, so you know what getting pinched means, and like for criminals. My dad and Jim, that's why I like Jim so much. I got pinched. You know, driving too fast, getting arrested, getting picked up, getting charged, whatever. So Jim was asking, when did Ghislaine Maxwell get pinched? For, and so someone said it sounds like she was pinched several times.
Yes, nice.
Files, yeah.
Nice.
We are coming up on a break, so let me take a break here. We'll get to your phone calls after our guest. We have a guest coming up in just a moment, and we have in studio with us comedian Soli Santos. Do you have any shows coming up that we should know about? Or you can also include that you'll be back on Friday, because even though you said you could come today, I'm inviting you back on Friday. Walco will be here.
I will be. I'll be in Aurora.
When are you in Aurora?
On Thursday.
Excellent.
For the Still Not Friday show. At a brewery that I will get you the name as soon as I remember.
I saw the ad.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, I've been there so many times. I love that show.
I saw the ad. I just saw it. I saw it go by. Two Brothers. She will be at the Two Brothers Brewery in Aurora on Thursday.
Oh, thanks
Excellent.
so much.
And then she'll be back here on Friday if she'll join me. And we're in a moment. We're going to talk to Corbin Trent, co-director at Justice Democrats, building people power in our country by electing a block of working class leaders in Congress. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Paul, don't go anywhere, because I will get you right after our guest. More after this. Oop. There.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Partly cloudy tonight with a low temperature of 26 degrees and northwest winds at 5 to 15. Wednesday, sunny with a high temperature around 38 degrees and northwest winds at 5 to 15. Thursday, cloudy with a high temperature around 37 degrees. Friday, sunshine with a high temperature around 45. Saturday, sunshine with a high of 46. Sunday, chance of rain with a high of 44. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 43.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter. Stephanie Miller.
I get to say my favorite sentence in the entire world. Here comes Kathy Griffin, hero of democracy. Hello.
How are we going to do this? Because I know we're both going to want to talk at the same time, because it's a love fest. I am so in love with you. You are so important and wonderful and funny and brilliant, and you are who I aspire to be.
When
I grow up, I want to be you.
No, you.
Stephanie Miller, weekday mornings 8 to 11 on WCPT 820.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning attorney who drafts living trusts and wills for my clients. You have probably heard my ads here on WCPT for the last few years. Your fellow listeners, when we have completed their plans, say, I wish I had done this sooner. It wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would be. We can complete your estate plan within 30 days or less. There are certainly decisions that need to be made, but my 30-plus years of experience will help guide you through this process. There may never be a perfect time to start, but whenever I'm asked when is the best time, my answer is always the same. Now is the best time, while it is on your mind. Being able to tell your family that you have an estate plan in place, that all the details have been taken care of, will be a great relief to both yourself and those you care for the most. Our initial consultation is without charge, and there is no obligation. My phone number is 847-996-0496, and my website is moretlawoffice.com, spelled M-O-R-E-E. I look forward to speaking with you.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversey Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us and continue to drive it home. My guest co-host in studio is Soli Santos. She will be performing at the Two Brothers Brewery this Thursday night in Aurora. And right now we have on the line with us. I apologize that I'm not on camera. I hope they told our guest. Our guest is Corbin Trent, who's a co-director at Justice Democrats. They're building people power in our country by electing a block of working class leaders in Congress. Corbin, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
You sound, what a great voice.
I saw this, the same thing. I was like, hello.
Here, I can do this.
Hey, how's it going?
If you have your camera, oh no, the camera's not even pointing the right way, so I can't even give you a camera view. All right.
I like the logo. It's a nice logo.
There's a chair. How are you? Yeah. Corbin, tell us a little about yourself. Where are you from originally, my friend?
I am from the East Tennessee area, so I'm from a place called Morristown, which is near Knoxville, East Tennessee, right in the valleys of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, right by Dollywood. I'm sure you've heard of Dolly Parton. Yeah, that's where I'm from. That's where I hail from. And I spent most of my life here. I did a little stint, maybe 5-6 years in New York, and then a year or two in D.C. But other than that, I've mostly been here.
What led you to go back to Tennessee? You're like, you know what? I've checked it out.
Well, so I guess DC is it's a place that you either go and change, or it changes you, or you leave. And I tried the former, and it didn't work out. So then I went with the third option. So it was, I just got, I tell you, DC. For me, was a place where dreams went to at least hibernate, if not die. I think they went there to hibernate because they were reborn. I'm back at it now. I've come home. I've licked my wounds. I went into the construction field for a couple years just so I could see something happening, work with my hands, see some transformation.
Yeah.
And now I'm ready to go back into beating my head against a wall in politics.
Well, when you say that, your dreams, you trying to preserve your dreams. What did you go in? What was the big pie in the sky ideal that you had that you were trying to protect and not get crushed in the work that you were doing?
I guess what I wanted to see was a country that I was proud of again, that was sort of looked like the stories I'd heard. I'm 45, so I was born in 1980, and I kind of feel like I came in at the tail end of some progress, right? We had seen so much progress between, say, 1930 and 1970, whether it was, the economic progress, the development that was done, racial progress, gender progress. There was so much progress happening over that period of time, some faster than others. And then I feel like a lot of that progress started to go the other way. And I thought, well, hey, this is something that can possibly be changed. Bernie Sanders started running for president. I thought, what the hell? I'm going to get on board this train. And I did. And I caught the bug, man. I just thought anything was possible. I thought we could do anything if we just put our mind to it. And, I thought, well, hey, this is what America wants. America wants to build again. They want health care. They want good jobs. They want clean energy, clean water. Yeah. Even people where I'm from, like we love we like to go fishing. We like the rivers, we're conservationists. So I don't know. That's what I hoped.
It's kind of an interesting collision, isn't it? What you're talking about, the ideals, that how far we had come, and with the President Obama's administration, and then the promise of what Bernie Sanders was offering. At the same time, the rise of social media and being able to reach even more people, the expansion of Fox Media and different outlets like that, whether it's News Nation, Sinclair, Nexstar, all those things. I mean, it is almost a snowball effect in a part, don't you think?
I think so. And I think there was a moment in history that the Democratic Party's leadership missed and is still missing today. This moment of this deep desire for transformative change. And I think Obama captured that desire for a while, the hope, the change. I started off as like a big Kerry guy, not a Kerry, John Edwards, sorry. And then sort of transitioned. Obama was the first person I ever saw I went to a rally in Asheville, right?
Yeah.
And so Obama inspired me. And then nothing sort of changed dramatically. It was sort of the way I felt, at least where I'm at. And then I felt like things kept getting, sort of worse. I mean, the economy was tough for people. People were struggling to pay bills, make ends meet, get ahead. I'm hustling. I've always been a hustler. I start businesses. Like I said, came back and became a contractor, But that shit's tough. So, excuse me.
That's all right. I got it.
My bad.
No.
My bad.
No, people are used to podcasting. That's fine.
And then, then Trump and Bernie, I think, both saw the pain in America.
Yeah.
They saw this opportunity. I think Trump saw an opportunity, whereas Bernie saw a need, right? Mm-hmm. And Trump was able to take this pain, this worry, this concern, this anxiety, and then weaponize it against us and turn it against, turn us all against ourselves in a very deep and profound way. With these simple explanations for why things were hard. It's black or brown people. It's immigrants. It's this, it's that. It's corporations. It's politicians. Let's build a wall. Let's drain the swamp. They're very simple answers, right? And I think too many people like your Nancy Pelosi's, your Chuck Schumer's, God bless him, even Joe Biden, really wanted things to just be normal. Like, just let's have like normalcy. But normal is what a lot of people wanted to get away from, because normal was rough, man, tough.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, look, it is. I agree. I think that, when Obama had the moment of affordable care, right? No, the Obamacare, there was this whole thing about how, they gave us this all these pages. We can't even read through it. We can't go back and what could have or should have happened. But we know 15 years later that our healthcare system is not even just a disaster, isn't a good way to explain it. I know you wrote about this on your Substack as well, America's Undoing. And I think that healthcare is a crisis of our generation, of our times. Actually, I'm Gen X, just a little bit older than you, but tell us a little bit about not just the piece that you wrote, but in general how this is crushing Americans.
Well, I mean, I think this is a sort of a microcosm of broader problems, and I think healthcare is such a good way to look at it because a lot of us deal with it all the time, and it's clear that it's not functional, that it's not working the way it should. And it's clear that we're paying more than any other developed nation on the planet, and we're getting less and less and less every year. I think the last year we spent $5.9 trillion in 1 year on healthcare. Wow. And 80% of our counties in this country, 80% of them are in one form of healthcare desert or another, whether that's healthcare, physical, mental, or dental healthcare. And, that doesn't even count vision and stuff. So what happened, in my estimation, I've done a lot of reading about this for the last year and change. And we went through a period, like I said, from the 30s to basically 1970 and change, where we were building. We were building hospitals, we were building roads and bridges and tunnels and factories and all this stuff. And a lot of that was owned by the people. And what I mean by that is the hospitals that were being built, like where I was born in East Tennessee. It was a hospital called Morristown Hamblin. And Morristown's the name of the city, and Hamblin's the name of the county. And it wasn't just a clever marketing name. It was called that because that's who owned it. There was a board of directors that oversaw, and that's who, if you were a doctor, you worked for the county or the city. If you were, a porter or whatever, the nurses, all these people. And so one of the things that gave us as a people is a baseline for what things cost. So we know, like, okay, if this person's going to charge me, $800 for this medicine, and I know because I run a hospital that I can get it for $20, then they're not going to last long because I've got this built-in competition that is a check on out-of-control costs. So, and I think too often, like Bernie or any of these folks that I've worked with and been proud to work with, have looked at this as a spending problem. We need to just push more money into it. Healthcare, housing, education. If we just spent more money, we spend more money than most countries per pupil for education. We're just getting less and less out of it. Like if you pour water into a colander and you try to use that to carry water to the garden, it ain't going to work good, is it? Right. And that's what we're doing with our healthcare system. We're just dumping trillions and trillions, and we're like, load up another trillion, Bob. We got to get her cranked up. And it don't work. It's not making healthcare. It's making rich people richer and sick people sicker.
Absolutely. We are talking to Corbin Trent. He's a co-director at Justice Democrats. They are building people power in our country by electing a block of working class leaders in Congress. He was the national campaign coordinator for Bernie Sanders' campaign and recently served as a communications director for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I am glad that you were not crushed by D.C. and have decided to keep. By the way, folks can subscribe to his Substack, which I just did. What can we do? What do you encourage folks to do? What for listeners here and across the country? What do you want folks to know and how they can get activated?
Well, I mean, I think what you got to know is that we've been here before. We changed direction. We were like at the precipice, just like we are now in 1930, and we changed directions. Now, I was talking to some people today, and they're like, oh, yeah, but we had a Great Depression, this horrible catastrophe. Well, right now, we've got a president that says he wants to nationalize elections. We've got ICE on the streets. We're in a catastrophe. And we need leaders that are going to act like we're in one, and they're going to rise to the moment. And there's people like that. Shrikat Chakrabarty running in San Francisco against Weiner, Scott Weiner there. It's Nancy Pelosi's old seat. You've got you got Graham Plattner running in Maine. You've got, there's like a handful of really exciting people that are ready to do the work to build a block that is going to take on the work and the challenges ahead of us. And I think too often, when I was working with, I was a co-founder of JD. I'm not with them anymore. But when I was working with JD, Justice Democrats, or any of these groups that I've been working with, the goal was to try to find great candidates. And I think that we kind of had it a little bit backwards. I think that what you need is the vision first. And so, there's this thing called Mission for America that New Consensus is doing. It's sort of an evolution of the Green New Deal. I think people should check that out.
Yes,
Just Google
please.
Mission for America. It's a radical transformation of our economy and our systems, and it goes at the heart of fixing the kind of things that I'm talking about, the structural problems. And that's what Trump's doing right now. He is going after structural foundations. But the problem is they're not trying to fix anything. They're just trying to take more power and money for themselves. But the approach is it's warranted. The approach of deconstructing some of the foundations and deconstructing some of the corrupted institutions, that's warranted. But the goal that they have is not to help anybody but themselves, whoever they're happy with today. And if your last name's Trump, maybe. Unless you're an ex-wife, and then probably not.
Probably. I want to invite you back on the show because I promised my listeners I would also take some phone calls. Unless you want to hang out for phone calls with my listeners, I don't know.
I love some phone calls, man.
Let's get some phone calls with our listeners. 773-763-9278. We're talking to Corbin Trent. Please subscribe to his Substack. Where else? What other websites? You mentioned Mission America. Where else should we be sending people?
Mission for America. So newconsensus.com. So it's like developing a new consensus around economic challenges. And then I'm about to launch a super PAC called A Fight Worth Having. It's not happened yet. So, and that's a thing that we're doing. Justice Democrats, if you want to find good candidates, justicedemocrats.com. They've got 10 candidates that they've recruited and running this year. So there's some really exciting people there.
And for you, I will say, we just had a Senate forum last week, which was the top 3. I would like to point you in the direction of a young man who I don't know how he'll do in this race, but Kevin Ryan is also showing himself to be a leader that we should keep our eyes on. We're talking to Corbin Trent. Let's take a break here. We're in studio with Soli Santos, who will be performing at Two Brothers Brewery, the comedy show, this Thursday at 8 p.m. in Aurora. I think that's what I remember from the advertisement. More in a moment on WCPT 820 and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. We're taking your phone call at 773-763-9278.
Hey guys, this is Tara Devlin for the Political Voices Network. This is America, right? We don't do kings here. No crowns, no thrones, no authoritarian cosplay. That's why we created the No Kings American Flag pin. For the low price of $20.26, that's 2026, we're keeping our eye on the prize here. This well-crafted enamel pin is the standard 1-inch American flag lapel pin, but this one features the patriotic No Kings symbol that defines our rallying cry. It's your quiet way of signaling to other patriots that you believe in democracy, and yeah, that still matters. You can grab yours now at store.politicalvoicesnetwork.com. That's store.politicalvoicesnetwork.com. The No Kings American Flag pin. Get it now at store.politicalvoicesnetwork.com.
If you're looking to refinance a home after a divorce, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Today, meet Lori, 50, social worker, score 650, income 90 G's a year. Call to refinance her mentally abusive ex-husband off the mortgage and title of their marital home per the divorce decree. Team Hochberg loan officer Anna Webdell helped Lori remove her ex-husband from the mortgage and title of the home, pay off debt totaling over $60,000, which included her attorney's fees, and saved her over $1,000 a month. Let's review. Team Hochberg loan officer Anna Webdell helped Lori remove her mentally abusive ex-husband from the mortgage and deed of the marital home, pay off all her debt, attorney's bills, and saved her over $1,000 a month. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation. In studio, guest co-hosting with me is Soli Santos. She is performing this week at the Aurora Two Brothers Brewery. And Corbin Trent is also on the line with us. Corbin, I was just telling Soli we should take our Resist and Persist comedy show to Knoxville, is all I'm saying. Or if you have a venue.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
There's some great venues here.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm ready.
And we love comedy. I haven't got to see good comedy really frequently since I lived in West Village, so it would be amazing to have good comedy here.
All right, let's do that. We've got some great comics, and I probably should expand beyond Chicago comics, but right now that's what I'm working with.
That's plenty. That's plenty.
All right, then we'll do that. We do have a listener who's been waiting on hold for a little bit. I don't know if he's changed his topic since we started our conversation with Corbin Trent. You can subscribe to his Substack, and he's got a couple of great pieces out that you can learn more. Here is our listener, Paul from Seattle. What's on your mind, Paul? Paul gave up on me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I was thinking, we have allowed the right wing over the last 40 years to turn every American tradition into a social and cultural grievance. And frankly, we've done that. The corporations have helped us. This is a real sick dance we have going here. I remember the first Super Bowl. It was a marching band. I think it was the University of Arizona marching band played, and jazz trumpet player Al Hurt. And I was really excited to see this game. But nobody was talking about the halftime. First of all, Al Hurt was not the biggest name in music, but it was fine for the Super Bowl. I think Up With People performed probably 4 or 5 times in the first 20.
Didn't Carol Channing perform?
Who?
Carol Channing. She did. She performed at the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, there's been some...
maybe. Well, what I'm saying is that it has to be the most popular performer, and then it's got to be, how dare you show up at the Super Bowl singing in Spanish? It's like they've turned every year, and then Janet Jackson's costume malfunction was, the left planned that, and it's like, it's just get out of it. Everything in the last, for sure, 25 years.
Yes,
I forgot.
I remember that.
Over the last 40 years, everything in American life has been converted to, I would say, really, since the Clinton presidency, it's been turned into a social, cultural grievance. And honestly, I've gotten to the point where I just forget it. I'm not arguing about this crap.
I know.
It's not worth it.
Just move on. Nobody was talking about the Super Bowl halftime show 3 days later after Super Bowl one. They weren't talking about it even after the game. Most people weren't even talking about the game 3 days later.
Exactly. Paul,
Right.
Paul let's let our guest and my guest co-host jump in on this conversation. Corbin, we were actually talking about this earlier because Soli did a great video. You should check out her Instagram. It's Soli Comedy, and she does Closet Confessions, and she talks about how much she enjoyed the performance as not just a fan of Bad Bunnies, but a Puerto Rican.
Yes.
My Boricua friend.
Yes.
Well, I'm actually one of the 112 likes so far on that particular Closet Confession.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yes.
Well, and I go ahead.
No, I was going to agree. I mean, I think that we've gone this way because it's easier to wrap your head around. It's easier to wrap your head around, I do like this, I don't like that social thing. It seems more like a game and less serious to people sometimes or something. It's weird because you don't want to take on the bigger ideas that are happening or the bigger problems that we're facing. You know, and this is almost like, I think, an escape hatch, you know?
Yes,
and it's
absolutely.
also just part of this being against each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and that's how I felt about when the bathroom thing started happening about, 10, 11 years ago, about how we don't want men in girls' bathrooms, we don't want men, all these things. And I was like, you didn't care about this 5 minutes ago. There have been trans people around forever. Nobody leaves the house hoping they can use a public bathroom. Just let people go in there and get their stuff done, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the ones that blew my mind. I mean, like, you go to comedy shows. I go to bars a lot, comedy shows, this and that. Like, I'm going to use whatever bathroom's open, man. I'm going to tell you that first off.
When you got to go, you got to go.
When I've got to go, I've got to go. And, like, if you're going in the bathroom to do something other than use the bathroom or, I don't know, maybe put on some makeup, whatever, then you're in a very different setting than most people are. I mean, it just got turned into this big idea. Like, obviously there's going to be, like, I guarantee you, when I was in middle school and changing in locker rooms, there were gay guys in the locker room. Like, we weren't, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It wasn't a thing. We didn't sit around talking about it, worrying about it, agonizing. Oh my gosh, guys. No. But anyway.
No, it is sort of where that that lens is pointed and who chooses to point it in that direction. And one of the things that you also have written about recently is about the billionaires and how they're using this moment to take advantage. You know, this has been the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of America, hasn't it, to the billionaires and soon to be trillionaires.
It's massive, and they're largely doing it using stuff that was, generationally speaking, at least ours as a people. You know, I mean, like Elon Musk, the richest guy in the world, worth $850 billion, a number that's like almost unfathomable, right? He made his money off government contracts. Tesla exists because we gave him a government loan to bail him out. You know, like all of this stuff that he's built. A, he didn't build it. Other people built it. And B, he got, you know, it's like the welfare king, you know, he's sucking off the government teat every way. He's getting all of these contracts, all of these loans, all his preferred treatment, and then wants to say, oh no, government's bad. We need to stop all the waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, bro, you're the waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but it's one of those things when you know this in politics, when you're explaining, you're losing. And we can't seem to get this across to folks, right?
No. And like I had this one thing, you know, like the thing that I've become recently obsessed with is this idea of wealth taxation and taxes as a solution of redistribution. And I understand the impulse. It's simple, right? Tax people, they have less money. We use it to buy stuff or do stuff that we need. But the problem is if you tax Elon Musk and then put that money into the health system, then different rich people get Elon's money. So that's when I try to say we got to own some of the stuff. We've got to own some of the hospitals. We've got to own some of the factories. Like, we wouldn't let Elon Musk have a nuclear facility. We wouldn't let him run an A-bomb production factory, but we're letting all these billionaires run AI systems by themselves that are going to, this could be completely just as transformational as electricity, right? And we're just going to let them, we're going to see what they want to do with it. That seems crazy to me.
That's why I mentioned Kevin Ryan to you, because you mentioned the New Deal and, well, the 1930s when we did turn the corner, and for a lot of different reasons. I mean, and we did have a wealthy person leading the way who said, I don't care if the rich people say they're going to leave or not be my friends anymore. Roosevelt stuck to his guns. I often say Francis Perkins. I have a degree in history, and I whip out Francis Perkins like, for no apparent reason in conversations and bar fights. But I mean, without the sort of, you know, the vision that they had, you know, the Tennessee Valley, the TVA, the work, you know, all the work projects. I mean, I went to a high school where all the art in our hallways is because they put artists to work, and we can see, you know, there's a lot of examples like that. And to your point about President Obama and then President Biden, I mean, there were moments that they had those opportunities, don't you think? In particular, President Obama.
Do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the crash was, you know, like they say, these banks were too big to fail. This is going to destroy capitalism, all this. Like, to me, it was bizarre if you say, these banks are too big to fail, but then the next sentence out of your mouth isn't, so we're going to break them up. Like, how is that not then this, you know?
Yeah.
You're going to leave this ticking time bomb running? That seems kind of crazy.
It's crazy. Yes, it's crazy. That's what I was going to say. It's crazy.
It's like maybe a bad decision, you know, like. I don't have an economics degree, but I'm going to say I'm against that.
I used to feel bad about getting a D in economics, and then Greenspan said, yeah, I don't really know what happened. We didn't take the greed into account. I'm like, at least I didn't break the economy.
Right.
I do not.
Right?
These jerks. Corbin, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Corbin,
such a pleasure.
Absolutely. We want to have you back, please. Some of the websites were newconsensus.com. Was it missionforamerica.com as well?
Just Google Mission for America and you'll find it.
Excellent. And Justice Democrats, folks. All the different, and then, of course, the Substack. It's Corbin Trent. And we're working on producing a comedy show in his neck of the woods. We'll figure
You do it.
I'm just
We'll host you.
Let's get
there's some great places in Market Square.
Excellent.
Oh, nice.
We have plans. We're making plans. Well, have a lovely evening. Next time I'll have the camera working.
Well.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, look forward to it.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk to Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy out of Minnesota. Murphy for 64 is the website if you want to learn more about her ahead of our conversation on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150. Soli Santos joins me in the studio. She'll be at Two Brothers Brewery on Thursday in Aurora.
War veteran. Most importantly, I am a New Deal Democrat from a new generation, and I am running for the United States Senate to make our government work for all of us, not just the 1%. Now, you might not have heard of me because, well, I am just like you. I don't have millions of dollars to spend on TV ads, I'm not backed by a billionaire, and I've been excluded from the debates because I refuse to raise millions of dollars from the 1%. Instead, I am backed by ordinary people like you. I'm the only candidate to campaign in all 102 counties in my campaign school bus, and we fund our campaign by simply passing a hat around. So we thought we'd spend some of that money to introduce our campaign to you on WCPT Radio. If you want to send a real progressive to the United States Senate and not another bought and paid for Democrat, go to kevinryan.com. Spread the word and vote for the candidate endorsed by Illinois progressives. My name is Kevin Ryan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message. Paid for by people of Illinois and Kevin Ryan.
Active Liver from New Nordic protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon or in stores at CVS, Wegmans, and now GNC.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. On Capitol Hill today, the head of Immigration and Customs Enforcement defended how ICE officers are carrying out President Trump's deportation agenda. Sagar Magani has a report.
Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons says the officers are facing unprecedented threats.
But let me send a message to anyone who thinks they can intimidate us. You will fail.
Appearing before a House panel,
we are only getting started.
Lyons was one of 3 agency chiefs testifying after the shooting deaths of 2 Americans by federal agents in Minneapolis sparked outrage. New York Democrat Tim Kennedy asked Lyons if he'll commit to making his officers take off masks.
No.
Well, it's a sad response. Your answer is completely unacceptable.
Lyons earlier complained about references to ICE officers like those in Nazi Germany. Democrat Dan Goldman made a suggestion.
If you don't want to be called a fascist regime or secret police, then stop acting like one.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says the federal immigration crackdown in his state could end soon. That after a conversation with administration officials, including border czar Tom Homan and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. Walz emphasized a trust but verify approach as the situation could change. The National Governors Association annual conference is unraveling after President Trump did not invite some Democrats to events. The bipartisan group says it will not hold a formal meeting with the president when it convenes in Washington next week. The FBI has released surveillance images from the porch of Nancy Guthrie's Arizona home. They show a masked person with a backpack and handgun holster outside the front door the night the 84-year-old disappeared. Retail sales were flat in December, closing out the year on a lackluster note. On Wall Street, stocks closed mixed. The Dow up 52 points, the S&P down 0.3%. This is AP News. Concerns about U.S. politics 8 years ahead of the Winter Olympics in Utah.
You will find it still a very welcoming place, as you will the rest of the United States.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox speaking at the Milan Cortina Olympics. The Republican governor faced pointed questions while promoting the 2034 Utah Winter Games.
We have elections just like your country in Germany. We have different parties in our country that are coming through with different visions.
Cox was responding to a German reporter who asked him to compare Utah's upbeat Olympic vision with news from the U.S. shaped by Washington. The past Olympic week in Italy saw opinions on U.S. international diplomacy and domestic politics mixed freely into the sports. U.S. athletes asked about representing their country at this time, with President Trump joining a backlash against them. I'm Marcela Sanchez.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Partly cloudy tonight with a low temperature of 26 degrees and northwest winds at 5 to 15. Wednesday, sunny with a high temperature around 38 degrees and northwest winds at 5 to 15. Thursday, cloudy with a high temperature around 37 degrees. Friday, sunshine with a high temperature around 45. Saturday, sunshine with a high of 46. Sunday, chance of rain with a high of 44. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 39.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
'Cause remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home this hour. Hello to our friends listening on KKNW 1150 in Seattle and our friends joining us in Minneapolis on KTNF AM 950. We have a wonderful guest for you, and we're so thrilled to have her. We first have in studio with us guest co-host Soli Santos, who will be at the Two Brothers Brewery this Thursday in Aurora, and right now joining us. And please make sure that you stay tuned for this entire conversation because there's so much to share with you. We have Minnesota State Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy joins us. Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much for being on the air with us tonight.
I'm so happy to join you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I was telling folks to visit murphyfor64.com. Is that the best website for people to learn more as we have this conversation?
That's right.
Outstanding. So I heard news today. I'm catching sort of clips of Governor Walz now saying that he has had a conversation with Homan that they were going to draw down the presence of ICE agents. Is that what you've heard as well?
I did hear that late this afternoon. I know there have been ongoing conversations between state officials and federal officials, including the governor, and it would be welcome news for Minnesotans if that were the case.
It has been so gut-wrenching. I mean, we had a certain level of ICE presence and interaction, abuse, human violations, civil rights violations, constitutional, I mean, all of it. To see what happened in Minneapolis, and let's talk a little bit about sort of the beginning, what seemed to be one of the catalysts for this, which was Nick Shirley, and targeting the Somali population and accusing Minnesota of fraud, which, by the way, every state in the union, look at Texas, look at Florida. I'm just saying, don't make me yell. But what has been sort of your experience, when this onslaught began? There was no way to anticipate it would be this aggressive and horrific, was there?
In your wildest nightmares, it is right to see what has happened in other states and anticipate that we would experience something like that as well. My brother, who lives in southern Wisconsin, said, you people in Minnesota are taking a real beating. And that is right. It has been a horrific time for Minnesotans. And yes, the YouTuber Nick Shirley coming here to create a story around Somali Americans, triggering a response by this president, calling a community of people garbage, calling our state a hellhole. But most importantly, what that effort that was triggered by the current Republican leadership in the Minnesota House, bringing Nick Shirley to the city, meant that childcare centers were on lockdown, that there were law enforcement officers on the outside, that parents were afraid to choose between their job and safe childcare for their kids, which is a too high a price to pay in the first place. But it was the pretext for this president to say it's time now to bring forces into the state of Minnesota. And I will say, if he wanted to fight fraud and wanted to join us, because none of us like fraud, and the services being provided for Minnesotans through our government are important, and they are for vulnerable people. But if he wanted to help us with that, he would have sent forensic accountants and not ICE agents. But instead, he used that as a pretext and sent successively growing numbers of federal agents with masks, unidentified, unaccountable, lawless, reckless, in many cases violent ICE agents to this state, and they're still here.
And I think those are some of the first. I mean, we had a lot of video coverage in Chicago and Los Angeles, in Seattle, of the activities, whether it was, smashing in windows, ripping, cutting through seatbelts and things like that. I think the first, and this was when J.D. Vance said, after the murder of Renee Good, it was days after that he said, we're going to start going door to door. And that's when we saw doors being busted down. And it was because of Minnesota, because of Minneapolis, that we learned that they had basically written an administrative permission slip, that they weren't following the Constitution and the Fourth Amendment, which took it to a whole nother level of horror, didn't it?
They have violated so many provisions of the U.S. Constitution, as well as, you mentioned, our human and civil rights. They were going door to door. They still are. I spoke with one of my colleagues this morning, and in the district she represents in Fridley and Columbia Heights, ICE agents, now dressed in plain clothes, were going to the doors of people who live in a manufactured home neighborhood, leaving groceries on the door, knocking on the door, encouraging people to open the door. And gratefully, the people there are now very well connected and recognized vehicles and understood what was happening, and they didn't open their doors. But they are continuing to pursue people in their homes. There was an incident that happened a number of weeks ago now where they broke down the door of a home. They didn't have a warrant. They took a man who was only wrapped in a blanket, and he was in his undergarments, his underwear. And they detained him. He was an American. They detained him. He belonged here. But he was whisked away from his home, his family, and his community in a way that did not respect his dignity at all. And we've seen far too many examples of that. And we've lost lives, as you mentioned, Renee Macklin Good and Alex Preddy, a registered nurse, the same as me. I have been so deeply disturbed, and I think we will be for months, and if not years, recovering from the trauma that we have experienced here in the state of Minnesota, as our own federal government has brought holy hell down on the people who live here without justification, without invitation. And as many of my colleagues and many people in the state of Minnesota have said, we need ICE to withdraw. We need ICE out of Minnesota.
We are talking to the Minnesota Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy, who we had the pleasure of meeting at the Netroots Nation event in Chicago a couple of years ago, and we talked about the successes of the DFL, the Democratic Farmer and Labor Party of Minnesota, and it's such a strange thing to see you again, to be able to talk to you again, and how tragic the last year has been, the last 8 months, I believe, for Minnesotans, for you and your colleagues. And when you say colleagues, are Republicans who, some of whom are in part responsible for this level of catastrophe, are any of them? I know we had one Republican candidate who dropped out of the gubernatorial race, but are any of the other Republicans having any sort of remorse or sensing that this is too much at all?
No, I have a colleague in the Minnesota Senate named Jim Abler, We have known each other for a long time. We served together in the House and now in the Senate. He's a Republican. And he will say to me when we talk together that he feels like he is the only Republican defending the Constitution right now. There are maybe a couple of others who have raised their voices. Representative Marion Rarick has, issued a statement about some of the behavior of the administration in Washington, D.C., especially because ICE was targeting law enforcement as well as innocent citizens. But on balance, their party has been either defending what's been happening, especially our congressional members who are Republicans, or they're silent here at home. And I think that has been very jarring for the people of Minnesota, because what has happened to the people here is so obviously anti-American, anti-human. And we understand now that we right now in Minnesota are the tip of the spear in defending our Constitution and really the republic for which we stand. If they are successful here, they're going to continue to move on. If we slow them down, perhaps other states won't experience what we've had happen here. But it's just been jarring and stunning. There aren't other words to describe what it feels like to have your community occupied by a federal force.
And so much of that has to do with the lies that are being spread, what the intentions of being a sanctuary city or state truly are. And we just said this in the last hour. We know that when you're explaining, you're losing. There's some people you're just not going to get through to when they say, well, if they would just cooperate, if they would just turn over the criminals or the people who are here illegally. First of all, I don't know if you have the numbers, because I know that it's every city is different, and the totality of how many people they have in detention centers, which we're learning more about. I mean, some of these places where we're learning how they're being treated. I know in Chicago, there are people who are sleeping, sitting in chairs or leaning against a wall. I think in Texas, they're talking about how they're getting notes out to protesters that they haven't had a fresh piece of fruit or vegetable in 5 months. We're learning about, this child who had a respiratory illness in Texas, and they wouldn't give her medicine. They wouldn't let her stay in the hospital. I mean, it's horrifying. I mean, do you know in Minneapolis, like in Minnesota, how many are actually criminals? And I believe we are. It is the policy in the those who are incarcerated to identify them as here illegally, right? That's already in place. Sorry, I'm yelling.
Yeah, it is. Our commissioner of corrections and the governor have been very, very clear that if there is somebody who is undocumented, who's committed a crime, and they're incarcerated, when their term is up, they will be detained and turned over to ICE. That has been the practice. That's what's been so frustrating about this, is we're being told to meet a standard that we've already met. Why we understand that this is a pretext for something else, a testing ground, a proving ground for authoritarianism. And it's important to say that in addition to ICE and its violent presence here, and its disruptions to small businesses, to kids learning, to any safe housing, they have disrupted life in so many ways. But they've also continued to threaten our state budget. They are investigating state officials like the governor and the attorney general. And they arrested press here in Minnesota, Don Lemon among them. They are doing the things that an authoritarian government would do if they want to try and suppress the public, and Minnesota is just not having it. And instead, we're pushing back. We are standing up. We are showing our resistance. And as we gathered together last week in our caucuses in the start of our election cycle, I remind people that we are burning brightly like the North Star and showing America what it takes. And I know in Minnesota, we're not alone. I know Illinois has had experience, Washington, D.C., and Oregon. We're not the only one. And we are in solidarity with the people across this country and in a fight for our democracy.
We are nowhere near. I mean, the experiences that I had, and believe me, going to Broadview to protest and being that close to the artillery, when we saw the interaction. I mean, I just knew all it took was one trigger happy, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That was my sense there with all that weaponry.
Absolutely.
For people who are protesting, for bringing in people in car, I thought all it takes is one of these jackholes. My words, not yours, ma'am, to lose it, and that's what we saw with Jonathan Ross. And then again with all the agents that executed Alex Preddy in front of us.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner. Actually,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner.
Yeah.
As horrific as that is, I'm surprised that that hasn't happened
Before Renee Good.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and to be fair, it did happen in Chicago.
Yeah.
We had one man who was taken from his car, or they were trying to get him from his car. Silverio Villegas.
Yes.
Gonzalez and then Miramar Martinez. Who
Yes.
Both there was testimony last week. I know from Renee Good's family, from Alex Preddy. I don't know if Alex Preddy's family, but to your point, I think that you're surprised it didn't happen sooner, and that what the Senate Majority Leader is saying, Erin Murphy, is I almost felt like they wanted this is where they wanted this to happen.
Absolutely, they just keep escalating because because this is what they're trying to go for.
Yep,
most definitely.
Yep. Sorry, ma'am. Go ahead.
I think about our conversation at Netroots back in 2023, and we were coming off a really historic legislative session where we had governing power. Melissa Hortman was the speaker. I was not yet in this role. My predecessor, Carrie Dietzick, was the majority leader. We have since lost her to cancer. But we did something extraordinary and really captured, I think, the attention of a lot of people across America, but we also caught the ire of the far right. And I think it is in part why we're experiencing what we're experiencing now, because we are a state that believes in a government that serves the people, and we want to improve people's lives, and we are showing the way. Like many state legislatures, we're really proud of what we accomplished, and I think part of the reason why this is so difficult for us is because there's an effort to try and get us to, as they say, cooperate. And I can't get over the words when someone says that to me, knowing what we're supposed to cooperate with is a force that is harming people.
Just comply.
We can't do that. Right.
Yeah. And that has been that has, as you mentioned, the uplifting part of this is seeing how Minnesotans react to this, seeing I'm shopping at a place called Smitten Kitten. I don't know if you're familiar with the work that they're doing.
Yeah.
If I may recommend smittenkitten.com. Yes.
Okay.
But they are that's the boots on the ground from people who are, collecting all the restaurants, all the business owners who are working together, because as you mentioned, so many of them are suffering, some that will close, that will never recover from this. I think that's something that we can't even wrap our minds around, the long-term damage that's being done here. And I think, we were just talking to Corbin Trent in the last segment, who we were talking about the New Deal. We were talking about moments in history. Minneapolis is this moment in history that we have to hold the line here. What would you like for folks in Illinois and beyond to know? Like, how can we help? Because I know there's a lot of organizations. I know that there are groups that are doing a lot of the hard work. Do you have any direction for us? Because we would like to do anything we can.
Yeah, thank you for that. A few things. One, there's a place you can go called We Stand with Minnesota. It is a place where you can find the places where you may want to contribute time or talent. And behind that are all sorts of organizations that are supporting Minnesotans. I want to give a big shout out to the ACLU and the Immigration Defense Fund here in the state of Minnesota. At the early start of this, when we needed lawyers to be able to defend people who were being taken from their homes and their cars and their workplaces, the ACLU was ready to go. But I also think it's important to remember that we are here because we lost an election, and we are going to find our way out of this by winning the next election. And that isn't so much a pitch about fundraising as it is about believing again and bringing more people into the belief that we, a self-governing people, lead our way through elections. And we are deeply engaged here in mutual aid. And the local movement that has built the resistance is not driven by any one sector. It's certainly not driven by elected officials, although we are participating. It is from the ground up. And that's why I think it's important to go to a place like We Stand with Minnesota. But we also know that we have work to do between now and November to restore people's faith in what we can do together and to bring everyone who is willing to the polls to vote to make change. We need to change here. I think there's a shot that we could maybe defeat one of the Republican members of Congress who has voted for that big bill that's cutting our health care and our energy and food support. and hurting the people in the district he represents. And if we have governing majorities here in the Minnesota House and the Minnesota Senate and another DFL governor, we can continue to do the work that we've promised to do for the people of Minnesota. We're going to have work to repair the damage that's been done. And I think the federal government owes every state where they have pulled this kind of crap, they owe us reparation. They owe us payment for the damage that they've done to individual lives, to businesses, to institutions. They need to do that for us. But we are going to continue to fight for the people of Minnesota. That's our job. That's my commitment. And I'm going to do it in the ways that I help my neighbors. I'm going to do it with my colleagues, any of them, Democrat or Republican who wants to help me. And we're going to do it by winning the next election here in Minnesota and across the country.
I think everyone's giving her a standing ovation right now, wherever they are. Amazing. Thank you for that. We needed that. And again, that's We Stand With Minnesota, the ACLU, or a couple of places you can go to make sure that we are supporting Minneapolis the best way we can. Also, shop at Smitten Kitten. They're doing a lot of great. If you guys didn't see the videos of them throwing things at the vehicles, I won't drag the State Sen majority
video.
Leader. I'm just saying, it was fantastic. Some of those that clung to the cars.
It's okay.
It was a pleasure to see you again. We look forward to having you on whenever your schedule allows. Please don't hesitate to reach out if there's a call to action or you just want to touch base with us and give us an update. And hopefully we'll get up there. We're working on a comedy tour called Resist and Persist, and we've got comics coming from Chicago to perform around the country, and we want to come to Minnesota and do what we can to help.
We would love to have you. I look forward to seeing you when you're here, and I can't wait to talk with you again. Thank you so much for making time.
Of course. No, thank you for making time, ma'am. We appreciate it. Okay, let's everything we can do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's take a break here. We'll continue talking when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Told you we love you. We're coming to you. We'll be right back after this with our guest co-host, Soli Santos.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
You know, there was this landmark study about a decade ago that found feeding peanut products to young babies could prevent the development of life-threatening allergies. That challenged the conventional wisdom that parents should avoid feeding their kids peanut products until age 3. Now, the result of parents following the earlier introduction advice was a major drop in the number of kids with diagnosed peanut allergies. That's according to compelling retrospective research out of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. The study's author said, it doesn't have to be a lot of food. We're talking about little tastes of peanut butter, milk-based yogurt, soy-based yogurts, and tree butters. They're really good ways to allow the immune system to be exposed to these allergenic foods in a safe way. And then over time, you can gradually ramp up the exposure. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic, plus get a $300 instant gift. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining as we continue to drive home. Wow, Soli, I can't even imagine. I met State Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy in 2023, and we were like feeling good about stuff. They just won the majority in the Minnesota State House, and since then, their rep floor leader was assassinated in her house along with her husband and their dog. Other members were shot, and anyway,
it's a lot.
It's a lot, and there was no not even a moment of this political rhetoric is too much. And then but like I said, when we're explaining, we're losing. We just need to do. We need to do the things that are fundamentally important to people. You know, whether it's healthcare, education. I mean, I love that conversation with Corbin Trent. For those who missed it, that's Corbin Trent on Substack, doing some great work of highlighting how we need to move, basically the New Deal Democrats. And what can we do for people? How do we make your life better? You know, access to the things that are going to be crucial, whether it's education. Now, I don't know if you saw Musk said the other day that it's the future of the United States. The only thing that's going to save the United States is AI and robotics. But yeah,
ridiculous.
I know. By the way, I don't want to look into this piece, but apparently there's some stuff about how the equipment that he launched into space is starting to fall apart.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
I'm just saying. Another thing I have to worry about.
What he needs to do, which is what he keeps talking about, is going to Mars. He needs to go, and he needs to stay there.
Yes.
That's what he needs to do.
I want to see him like that Matt Damon movie where he's just trying to plant potatoes.
Yeah, just go. You want to go there so bad? Go. Get out of here.
By the way, do you like my coffee?
I do. I saw that earlier. I didn't say anything, but I was like, oh. I
bought this during the pandemic because I was doing so many Zoom meetings. So I was like,
I love it.
I guess you have to go to the Facebook page, folks, to see what...
I love the pettiness of it.
Well, I'm trying to not be as petty as I used to be.
But that's a good petty. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's my enemy.
I like it.
Oh, I can't take this call right now because Roosevelt will be mad he only has 30 seconds. So because we have a guest coming up, but we will take more phone calls after our next guest. We have coming up on the phone with us, I believe on the phone, yes. On the phone with us is going to be Monica Byron, president of Education Minnesota, the labor union of more than 84,000 educators in Minnesota. So let's take a break here with our guest co-host, Soli Santos, who is performing this Thursday at Two Brothers Brewery in Aurora. Do you know what comics you're performing with? Or have you not looked at that? I should look at your advertisement.
I have to look at the flyer.
The flyer. Let's take a look at that flyer.
I saw it. You know,
I'm performing this weekend. I should probably find out where that is as well.
We both are terrible.
I know. I am terrible at marketing.
I'm like, just tell me where to go.
Thank you.
And what time do I need to be there?
The thing I'm good at is just getting on, like, for here, I'm like, just put me in front of the microphone.
Yeah. It's like, Aurora, when? What day? What time? Okay.
Yeah, I'm there.
All right.
By the way, I have to order pizza for my family. Let me get that done during the break.
Oh, I'm hungry now.
I know. Sorry. It's going to be a deep dish. Should I do Pequods or should Frank's Pizza? I think has good deep dish too. I like Pequods though. It's tough to ask.
I feel like win or win.
Well, I'll let you know after our next guest. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150, KTNF AM 950. Oh, please, thank you so much to our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com. Put in an order for their single origin roasted beans that are roasted to order. Right when you click order, they like Jackie. I think it's Jackie. I imagine it might be Patty too, but they go and they roast it right away. You can go to their website and find out about all their incredible roasted beans, and they will be on Valentine's Day at the Broadway Armory for the Edgewater Farmers Market. So go check that out, and you can find out where else they'll be in the Chicagoland area. More in a moment.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Partly cloudy tonight with a low temperature of 26 degrees and northwest winds at 5 to 15. Wednesday sunny with a high temperature around 38 degrees and northwest winds at 5 to 15. Thursday cloudy with a high temperature around 37 degrees. Friday sunshine with a high temperature around 45. Saturday sunshine with a high of 46. Sunday chance of rain with a high of 44. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 39.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
WCPT replay.
We have Maria on the line from Chicago.
I'm so impressed with how you and everybody on WCPT are able to stay sane with all the chaotic nonsense that comes out of the White House and all the violence and all the crappy things that's going on around us, and how you are still able to be a voice for us, because WCPT is my go-to when it comes for information, news, etc. Because I don't trust the government anymore, which is sad. It makes me sad as an American citizen. It saddens me to say that.
You and me both.
You,
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you for listening to my rant. much.
You're very welcome. The only place where you went wrong was assuming that all of us here at CPT are still sane. But we'll have that discussion another day.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Tell me how you're doing, really. Tell me that you missed the bus this morning, your rent's past due, and your stress level has skyrocketed. I'm here for you, to listen, not judge, to connect you to local mental health resources. No matter what you're going through, specialists like me from NAMI Chicago Helpline are here for you. Call or text Helpline to 833-626-4244. That's 833-626-4244.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Joining me in studio is guest co-host Soli Santos, who will be appearing at Two Brothers Brewery this Thursday, and that's in Aurora, so you can catch that show. She'll also be back in studio on Friday. I've decided that for her.
Okay,
I promise not to do that to all of my guests. We have on the line with us Monica Byron, president of Education Minnesota, the labor union of more than 84,000 educators in the state. Monica, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing okay, and thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you know what? I feel bad. I tell folks, I try to ask if you're taking care of yourself. How about, are you staying hydrated?
You know, I have a big glass of water next to me right now, and that has been my goal throughout these last 71 days.
Yeah. Okay, put that number into perspective for folks. When you say 71 days, this is the occupation of Minneapolis and St. Paul?
That is exact. And I'll just say it's been our whole state. So we are at day 71 of this Operation Metro Surge, where thousands of ICE and Border Patrol agents, federal agents, have been across our state. I know Minneapolis and St. Paul area has really taken a brunt of a lot of the things going on, but I just have to tell your listeners, it's happening in our small towns, our lake cities, I mean, everywhere across our state.
It is, and I saw a video out of, I think it's St. Peter. I don't know how far away that is from Minneapolis, St. Paul, right, where this woman was basically driven off the road, and agents jumped out of the car with the weapons drawn. And I mean, I know it's happening everywhere, but is that...
That is pretty much a daily occurrence from everything that we're hearing. St. Peter's about an hour south of here, and again, all over we're hearing incidents like that. People being unlawfully detained. I had, I'll just share, a former third-grade student of mine who's now teaching himself was detained and luckily released. He's a citizen, but he was just going to his high school to teach for the day, and his day was completely interrupted for no reason other than he was brown.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's horrifying. And this is traumatizing for all the students because they have been a target, whether it's at pickup and drop-offs or what's happening to their parents, worrying about their parents going to work, worrying if they'll be there when they're coming home from school. Tell us a little bit about the experiences that you know we should really know. This is happening every single day, as you mentioned.
Yeah, so it has been traumatizing to our students and our educators and our communities, but our students have had to see things happen or live with the fear of ICE patrolling around buses, driving by, talking to people at bus stops we've heard of, harassing people, driving by playgrounds, driving through parking lots. Students can see this all happening outside of classroom windows as well as from their own homes. So it has just been, it's so hard to find the words, but I just feel for the trauma that all of this is leaving behind on our students and our educators and our communities.
I feel like the school social workers got to be working overtime for all of this, dealing with so much trauma for all these children and families.
Yes, our school social workers, all of our school support people are trying to do what they can. Our educators are doing their jobs during the day, making sure that our students know that while they're there, they're going to do everything they can to keep them safe as they can. But then after school, they're helping bring food to people's homes because we don't want to give out addresses. So educators are taking that upon themselves to deliver food. They're helping patrol bus stops, riding the bus even. So it has really impacted the way we do things, the way our students, quite frankly, are behaving throughout our state.
Oh, my God. So tell us a little about the lawsuit that has been filed in federal courts.
Yes, so we, along with, and that's Education Minnesota, along with a couple of school districts, have filed a lawsuit. And the lawsuit is to keep ICE from our schools, to basically reestablish safe zones. That's something that, Trump rescinded, those protected areas, or the protected area policies. And so our lawsuit is to reestablish that so that our school districts are places where students go and our families depend on will be free from ICE, and they can just do the job of learning.
Yeah. That's what any child should have. I know. I know there have been walkouts in other parts of the country. I would think it'd be harder because that makes them targets in Minneapolis, because we're not necessarily have that much in Chicago either for the schools.
Yeah. So we have participated in marches as much as people can. Some, if it was during a contract day, of course, our educators were doing their jobs and making sure they're at school. But there have been marches. There have been other actions. We have had actions where we've asked people to write letters to Congress to ask them to protect our schools, or now for DHS, to make sure that no more money goes to this, towards this. So we've been trying to make sure that people's voices are elevated, and especially through actions. So if they can't take part in the streets, they can take part by writing emails and letting their congressional folks know.
It's gotta be. How are folks trying to there's really not even a question for me to ask, how they're managing, because it's really just day to day. It's moment to moment.
Survival.
Yeah.
Yep. It really is. It's one of those things people ask. It's just that nice thing to do. How you doing?
Right.
And you want to, and you say good, but you can see that people are not good. People are carrying that stress, that it's anxiety that, I'm just going to say again, doesn't need to be. This could end with a phone call. This could end across our country, and we can look at immigration policies and other things, but this could stop, and people could then take a breath, because right now it's almost like we're not breathing.
Well, this was the one thing they had. This was the one bat they had to swing, was it's the fault of people who came here from countries where their skin is darker. Right. That was all they had. Yep.
I agree.
The gaslighting is phenomenal,
Yeah.
Well, especially when it was the Department of Homeland Security. I think there was a document that was just released that like out of the 400,000 people that have been detained, only 14% of them had any type of a criminal record. And what we're seeing here, I mean, you've got from the little, a lot of people saw Liam, the little 5-year-old that was used as bait, and then detained and thankfully back here in Minnesota. But we're seeing that people are being harassed. They are being detained for absolutely no reason other than their skin color or an accent. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, the Kavanaugh stops. And he wants us to stop calling it that. But dude, this catastrophic path that we're on that seems to have no end in sight. And to your point, I mean, like I was watching a show last night about all the properties that they're buying in order to.
Horrific. Yes, the warehouses.
We're at concentration.
The warehouses. Yeah,
we are at concentration camp position. I mean, like people are like, oh, it's not. That's not right. Are we supposed to wait until it's a Holocaust? Are we supposed to wait until they're on trains and being taken to gas chamber? Like, how long am I supposed to wait? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to drag you into this, Monica.
No. That is okay. I mean, I'm an elementary teacher, but I do study history as well. So, I mean, we all know how we could lose our democracy.
Yeah.
And it's happening right now in real time, and we just need to make sure that people are awake to it and they see what's happening, because our rights are being taken away.
It's because enough people lost their humanity that we're going to lose our democracy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, that was all it took. And we just had your Senate Majority Leader, Erin Murphy, on a moment ago, and she was talking about how all of this happened because we lost an election.
Yep. And we, it's political. Our roles are political. We're funded, through legislation, et cetera. But I just want people to know that this is about protecting what we all value, and that's our children's safety and our constitutional rights. And they can make it as political as they want. I'll just say that Minnesotans are standing up for one another to make sure that we do what's right here to protect our neighbors.
I'm so grateful for your time and the work that you do. Where can folks go to learn more about your organization and support you in any way we can? educationminnesota.org is the best place?
Yep, that's a great place. And if people are looking for immigration resources, they can go to educationminnesota.org/immigration. We're providing resources for people to navigate through these really difficult times right now.
Well, and something we didn't get to, but next time we have you on, I mean, like the labor unions are really what where we need to be turning our focus and energy to support, because it is working families that will get us through this. So thank you so much, Monica. I appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good evening. And
thanks.
Stay hydrated. Cheers.
Thank you. I will. You too.
All right. Thank you. That's Monica Byron, President of Education Minnesota. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation. We've got phone calls lined up. 773-763-9278. That's the number to call or text. And thank you to the listener that reminded me that what Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy said about this happened because we lost an election. I thought that was a good point to make as well. More after this with Soli Santos, who will be at the Two Brothers Brewery on Thursday at Aurora.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive.
What we do here at WCPT is more important than ever. And in addition to telling you about the latest outrage, I hope we all also offer you hope. You're not alone. We're all in this together. We are all resisting together. We are all going to work for the causes that are near and dear to our hearts.
Joan Esposito, weekday afternoons 2 to 5 on WCPT 820.
Check up on health with Chris Whitting.
Panic attacks occur most in teens or young adults, often without warning or reason.
Dr. Jack Vaith of Shepherd Pratt Hospital in Baltimore.
Most people are so embarrassed by their panic attacks, they will fail to share them with their parents. And so they tend to live for many years with them until they get to a point where they say, this has been going on for 10 years, but it's now happening daily instead of weekly or monthly. And that's the lingering fear of panic attacks. I'm going to be out in public, and oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because I don't know what brings them on. I don't know how to get rid of them. Therefore, I'm going to start avoiding the public. This is how many people become agoraphobic. They're not going to leave their house for fear that they will end up subject to public humiliation as a result of one of these attacks where they can't escape and disappear.
If you have panic attacks, tell a friend. Tell your parents. Talk to a counselor. With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversity Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving
Why was that funny? I feel well. I mean, like the Bears aren't terrible, but we're struggling.
No matter how bad our sports teams are.
I should probably whip up another ad. Jerry's been on me to get a new ad going.
Great.
Tomorrow, I'll be in studio. I'll be at the station to record new promos for Minocqua Brewing Company. By the way, go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com and order some progressive brew and join our Kickstarter. He's starting a marketplace. Right now, we have like 90 vendors. They sell all kinds of things from tote bags to coffee and shirts and houseware. But he wants it to be where you turn to instead of Amazon.
Oh,
so
nice.
we have a Kickstarter going. I believe we're past like halfway mark for folks. It's all or nothing. So if it doesn't go, you get your money back. But we are encouraging folks to support the work that we do there and subscribe to the Minocqua Brewing Company Substack. Let's get to phone calls, and I'll tell you more about Ben Cominos if we have time. We're in studio with guest co-host Soli Santos, who did enjoy the Super Bowl halftime. As did I, by the way. But I love her video on Soli Comedy. If you can go ahead and find her on Instagram, as Corbin Trent did. Right in real time. He liked your post. I'm just saying. Roosevelt, are you on Instagram? Do you do social medias, my friend?
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm on Instagram, but Facebook and all that
you
stuff.
You have Facebook, right, Soli? Find Soli Santos on Facebook. I know. That's right. You've messaged me through Facebook. That's right. Roosevelt did one of those things where we weren't friends on my personal page, and like I'll find messages from people like in some hidden folder like years later.
Yeah.
So I did see that eventually, Roosevelt. But thank you for following me on the Patti Vasquez Show page.
Okay. All right. Well, how you doing, ladies? ¿Cómo están, señora? Okay.
Muy bien.
Well, I'm hydrated.
Gracias.
Mucho agua para mí.
Okay, so I want to continue. I know a lot of people are probably tired of it, but I still want to continue to talk about Puerto Rico, and I want to talk about.
Oh, we're here for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Okay, so this is the way Mexican American interpreted what he was sending a message. I paid a lot of attention and played it back and watched it like 3 or 4 times. I noticed that towards the end, the lead flag was the American flag. I noticed that he mentioned all the Latin American countries, including Canada and the United States. I think it was a lesson. It was an educational thing from my way of looking at it. Because a lot of Americans, you name it, of any color, don't know that America includes Mexico, includes El Salvador, includes Canada, includes Central America. I spent 6 years of my grammar school in Mexico. That's what they teach you. Here, unfortunately, they teach you that America is just the United States.
Right. Because the Americas is a continent, and that's not what's really highlighted here in the United States. America is usually assumed to be the United States. Yeah, most definitely.
So to the people that are not Latino or Latin American, we already got a strike against us because we are not considered part of America in a general way, that is. But the America, like the Olympics, let's just mention the Olympics, and that's the most current thing. That it's considered the American flag, the American national anthem, and stuff like that. And then when it's Puerto Rico, it's a Puerto Rican flag. But there shouldn't be any separation because Puerto Rico is part of the United States.
Well, it is considered, but that's because it's not a state, and it's still considered its own nation. That's why it's allowed to have a U.S. Olympic team. It's why it's allowed to have a separate Olympic team. Because if it was a state, it would not be allowed to have its own Olympic team.
Right. No, that makes sense. But here's the thing. Did you ladies, because I covered a lot of stuff. Did you hear about that idiot Jake Paul, boxer?
Oh, yes.
Wrestler?
He freaking lives in Puerto Rico.
He lives in Puerto Rico for the
taxes.
For the tax incentives.
Sorry, was I yelling? Was that me yelling?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the hypocrisy behind the criticism of Bad Bunny was ridiculous.
Absolutely.
And if I'm not mistaken, his own words, Jake Paul, that is, his own words, he said that it was a fake citizenship or something to that effect. In other words, Bad Bunny didn't count his citizenship.
Right.
Him being a citizen.
Exactly.
That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Fake citizenship or something to that effect.
But he knows. But my assumption would be he knows better. He's just saying that just because he wants to, make it seem for whatever prejudice, racist comments he wants to say. Because as someone who's living on the island, he knows at least well enough to know that they are U.S. citizens on that island.
Yeah,
he knows.
Yeah, and this is what I said in Spanish. I kind of semi-scalded my own people, meaning Mexicans and /Mexican Americans with or without papers. Because in Mexico, I spent 6 years in my grammar school. And I, more than anybody else, knows the prejudice within my own people. Because I grew up 6 years of grammar school with the name Roosevelt. It's a no-no in Mexico.
Mm.
I had the güero thing. I had that, white boy thing. But so I said this, let's learn from this young man of inclusiveness, not exclusiveness.
Right.
Meaning he included everybody. He included Canada. Not only that, I said this, he kind of took us on a sort of like a documentary, a musical documentary, the way I looked at it, because when he was climbing that pole, he was representing how much his people suffered in Puerto Rico when those apagones, when those electricity
with the electrical company Luma. Mm-hmm. I will say this, though, in regards to that, a lot of people make the assumption that started with Hurricane Maria. That has been a problem on the island for decades. It started before Luma. It started before Hurricane Maria. This has been a constant issue. I have gone to Puerto Rico so many times throughout my entire life. As a child, I can't tell you how many times I would be at my abuela's house and we had no power because a whole section of the island didn't have power. And it could have been something as a hurricane, or it could have been a beautiful sunny day, and we still didn't have power. So this is not anything new on that island. This has been corruption that has been going on for decades. Luma just happens to be the current company that is the problem. And then once their contract is over in like 7 more years, if the corruption keeps going, it's going to be another corrupt contract with another corrupt electrical company that's going to neglect the grid and continue the problem that's been going on for decades.
And to your point, I know about that too, because I come from a a small town, not a suburb, but a small town in Mexico. So I know about what you're saying. And when it comes down to Puerto Rico, is lack of investment and lack of the government paying attention and minimizing how important Puerto Rico is to this country. Another thing I want to say about Puerto Rico is the fact that Trump, I don't know how long ago, he said that something about Puerto Rico being garbage or something, floating garbage or something. Do you ladies remember that?
That wasn't. I think you're talking about the comedian that said that Puerto Rico was.
The comedian. Yeah,
yes,
you're right.
It was a
you're
comedian.
Right.
Yes.
But I think Trump picked up on it. Anyway,
yes.
But let me give you some more details. When it came down, you guys mentioned the Villa Tacos and the little mango stand and all that. I can relate to all that. The caña, the sugar cane. We grew up. We used to plant sugar cane. My grandfather, alongside of corn in Mexico. So I know all about the sugar cane, and he gave homage to all the jobs that people think it's easy to do, such as working the fields, So that was very important to me because that's never happened in the Super Bowl. Another thing.
By the way,
when is the last time?
Second highest viewed Super Bowl of all time. So
incredible.
Yeah. I've got to run. I'm so sorry, Roosevelt. I've enjoyed this time together, but now it's time to leave and say goodbye to everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Lady B. Soli Santos will be at the Two Brothers. Why did I put my finger in front of the camera? Two Brothers Brewery in Aurora this Thursday. We'll see her here in studio on Friday with comedian Tim Walco as well. Good night, everybody. Look at that. 2 seconds late. Bye, everyone.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds.